The major stakeholder in energy sector in Ondo State interacted with News Extra in person of Engineer Dr. Honorable Alabi Johnson, the special advisor to Governor of Ondo State on energy matter. Is a renowned technocrat par excellence. Today, he highlighted major challenges of energy power breakdown. One of them is vandalization of power plants and not having enough gas to power the electricity can cause greed. None of the power generation can perform up to 70%, and also political interests affect power breakdown. He also provides solution to stable electricity. Hear what he said, reporting Engr.Dr.Hon from News Extra Television.
I don't know the particular one you are referring to because I do know that there are a lot of crises in the power, especially in the power sector of Nigeria as a whole. And the whole state seem to be having similar occurrences of incidences of epileptic procedures and power. Now, our state, Ondo State, has been conscious of some of the epilepsy and has taken the bull by the horn over time to see that those challenges are overcome. Uh, in 2020, precisely, the Ondo State government signed into law the electricity sector power law. We call it the Ondo State Electricity Power Sector Law 2020. That law has been in existence since that time up to now. And the law was made as a way of taking care of some of the challenges that are currently ravaging the power sector. There are very many challenges in that sector. And so that is why I was saying I don't know the particular one you are referring to.
Okay, the recent being the national grid collapse.
Yes.
And we had in a week 4 times national grid collapse. Do you experience that in Ondo State as is related to other states?
You know, the issue of grid collapse, all the while in Nigeria, the grid has never been under the jurisdiction of the state. The grid has been in the list of the government functions. You know, the distribution was decentralized. The generation was also decentralized, but leaving the grid in the hand of the federal government. And I want to tell you that this grid has been affecting the nation as a whole, and there are a lot of factors responsible for this. Very many factors. Now, the way it is, the grid that we are currently operating in Nigeria are almost obsolete, if not totally obsolete. But the government of Goodluck Jonathan was going to be doing some things with regards to building new structures for grid, but those projects were not seen to fruition before the expiration of his tenure. And so it has brought some lapses on the project, and that is why most of them are not completed up till as I speak to you. Before Goodluck Ebele Jonathan left office, there was this expansion program, that expansion on issue of substation, distribution substation. I think over 119 substations were awarded before he left office. But because of the manner with which the contracts were awarded, not following due process, not a lot of anomalies. When the government of Buhari came on board, they had to set up committees to see how those things were done. We even had a situation where some contractors were paid over 100% before moving to site. Some of them couldn't even move to site after taking some money and all the things. So all those allegations were there. Now, as I speak to you, our grid is experiencing critical malfunctioning. And the reason being that one, that most of them are obsolete. Two, recently there is improvement in the capacity generation across the nation. And so there is the need for the transmission company of Nigeria to put in more power on the grid, only to discover that most of them cannot accommodate the availability that is on ground now. So when they load it, it trips, it goes off. And when the grid collapses, it takes some procedures to put it back on. It's not just what you just go and just like you see the switch of the light in my room and just turn it on and turn it off. It doesn't work like that. There are some procedural steps that ought to be taken. That is one of the challenges, that there is more capacity, availability of capacity to be transmitted through the grid, and the grid cannot accommodate that volume of power. That is part.
Okay.
The other one is vandalization. Vandalization of the infrastructures, the grid infrastructures. This is becoming very common lately. Why? Because of this crises, different crises, criminal activities, vandals activities. When I say criminal, I mean some internal criminals who are, who have been benefiting from certain irregularities and now seeing that something are coming up. So the best bet is to pull down the grid. So there are a lot of other factors which are not the case in Nigeria now. We have some places where you have grid collapse due to force majeure, natural disaster, and some other factors. But ours is not like that. What we are having majorly, like the one we have in the north last week, was due to vandals activities. So then, not having adequate power to put on the grid can cause the grid to collapse.
Not having adequate power.
Not having adequate power. There are a lot of challenges in this nation. And when I say not having adequate power, as I speak to you, there is no generation company in Nigeria that is performing up to 70%. None, I've not seen it. Maybe 30%, some 40% performance. Generation company. So they are forced to operate below what they are supposed to be operating. And that has been one of the challenges. Then vandalization of pipelines, when it happens, it definitely shuts down some generation infrastructure. And when it does happen, there is nothing to put on the grid. That is another major issue with the grid.
Now,